How you doing, everyone? Uh, this almost winter afternoon we're having today. Let me check. Is the audio okay and the video, everything working all right? Can Hey, Rancher. Hey, thanks again for the topic. I always need a good topic. It was a perfect topic to follow up on. Hi, Brian. All right, wise guy. Sounds good. All right. Hi, Suleiman. Good to see you. Hi, Junior. Kentucky. How are things in Kentucky? Yeah, I've got. I know I've never lived there, but I've got a whole lot of family in Kentucky. It's from where my dad's from, and they go back in Kentucky to the 1700s. Really, Kentucky. Hi, Jonathan, Dominic. Good to see you. Well, after our discussion this morning about the problems that the guy who calls himself the timepiece gentleman ran into, um, the rancher suggested, he said, "Why don't you have one on how to avoid crime or how to avoid it?" Well, that's what I want to talk about, and when I say I want to talk about it, I want to talk about it with you. So naturally, I want your input. Hey, Washington football fan, how you doing, man? Anyway, well, let me start off with a couple of things. Is that I know I sound like a stuck record here, but I think the very best defense against any kind of criminally sad encounter you might have is knowledge. The more you know about watches, the more you know about all aspects of it. Now, part of knowing about a watch is also sort of knowing sort of a collection of watch sellers who other people have dealt with. I have heard of certain sellers doing things that I think are wrong, like, and I'll never deal with them again ever. And I think that they sort of in a way they're not criminals, but they're sort of cheaters, or I put it that way. This one guy I know, this is sort of a weird one. He was on his way to, the big watch show they used to have in, I think it was in Bern, and forgot what the name of it was, but that used to be the big watch show. And so he had contacted me, and there's a watch that he found in Spain. It was a resonance, and it was in platinum and it was like really a one to have. I knew that those were fairly rare. The price on it was fantastic. It was like 32,000 or something like that. And I know, today that sounds like a real bargain. Back then it was a little high, and so naturally, as I always do, advised to negotiate. So the guy did, and he got a price. Um, I didn't negotiate too far down. So he sent the guy $5,000 to hold it. And what he was going to do, he was going to fly and pick it up in Spain. I don't know where exactly. Probably my guess would be Madrid, and then fly on to Bern. So the guy Basilward, that's it, not Bern, Basil. That's exactly it, Ranch. That's what I was trying to think of. Hi, Ed. Anyway, so he sends the guy $5,000. He stops in Spain to pick it up, and the guy had jacked up the price, like, I don't know, had been something like 32, and the guy said, no, there's a misunderstanding. I wanted 36 for it. Well, the guy got really upset about it. He said, "Look, we made a deal, dun, 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 dun." So anyway, the guy said, "No, I want 36 for it." Now, in retrospect, 36K for a FP Journe resonance in platinum is now worth like $200,000. And I think, both the guy just said, "No, you can go jump on a lake." Got his $5,000 back and went on to Baselworld and sent me a note and let me know what happened to him. Well, in terms of criminal thing, that's not exactly criminal, but it's very unethical. And of course, again, uh, there's not a whole lot you can do in a case like that if a company is reputable. Now, I'd never do. If I ever found out the name of the company, I'd never do business with them. I wouldn't. It's something that they would pull something like that. Another company here in Connecticut, unfortunately, did a very similar thing to a friend who had put money down on a watch, and the guy sold it to someone else. He did send him his money back, but this is like something you just don't do something with. Now, I think I told you about I had made a deal with on an FP Journe. What are the automatics called? I forgot. Was on one of their automatic Octo or something like that. I think what it was. And so I made a deal with a guy, but what he did, he called me back, or when I contacted him, one of the two, and said, "Gee, I'm sorry. One of my good customers wants it, and I've got to sort of go with my good customer." And I understood. I said, "I understand that, and that's fine." I don't consider that unethical. I think it's somebody's got a business and they don't know me from Adam's odd ox, and so that's a little different. So that sort of, I would say, more has to do with ethics and crime. Now, uh, the when you're talking about somebody who's criminal, I guess I must have dealt with one because this one guy who I bought I've mentioned him before. This guy in Switzerland, he wanted everything sent wire, and he gave fabulous prices. You got the watch you wanted. And so that was, I was good with that. And I found another watch I wanted from the guy. And so I made a deal with a guy on it. And I said, "Look, it's going to take me a little while to save up for it. But I said, if you still have the watch when I'm able to save up for it," I said, "We got a deal." And he said, "Fine." So then I got this thing from he was in jail. And it was more of a family thing. The guy was in jail because the family had said that he had not paid for watches or didn't give them their share, something like that. When he was in jail for it, and later on, I guess when I saved up enough money, I contacted the guy. Said, "Do you still have the watch?" Now that probably was a foolish thing for me to do. The guy had been in the jug, and here I go and still want to go ahead with him. Okay, so anyway, I mean, if I think the way to prevent crime in this sense is among ourselves. I mean, if something happens, if you have a bad experience with a company and they're unethical, I mean, there's not a whole lot of. I mean, it's a small step from going unethical to going criminal. So you avoid that. I think, like I said, the one of the most important things that you can do is to gain knowledge of watches so that somebody can't sell you something that's not any good. And if you don't know anything about it, then there's not. And there's it's just like Brian said, research, research, research. And again, it's like, if we stop and think about the money we spend on watches, then think about anything else we'd buy. It's just like, oh my God, I would, have a month-long discussion about something like that on a watch. So, oh boy, go right out and buy it. You got to be careful about that. Uh, Nothing says luxury watch transaction like two heavily armed white men meeting in an alley behind a Starbucks. No. Aikido. Uh, oh God. Okay. Uh, Dominic, could have been a dollar to euro conversion. It could have been, but it wasn't. It was a flat out. It was a change up. This was, I think, I've been to Spain both when they've had the euro and before when they were working on. I think they had the peso, I guess, before they had the euro. And but I don't think that was it. It could have been though. It's like, and in that case, this is the buyer's fault. If the like if it says so many Swiss francs, says 100 Swiss francs, or not 100, but let's say 5,000 Swiss francs, and that would cost you about $5,500 or something like that, and you think you're getting screwed. Well, you're not. Not to mention that the bank is going to take a little conversion part. Okay, no being vulgar, rancher, except when you're talking about certain brand of watch, then it's okay. Hey, Nigel, good to see you. Okay, for older models. All right. Hey, Captain Zed, the timepiece gentleman is trustworthy. Okay. Yeah. What do you do? Stand around schoolyards and tell kids that stuff, Captain Zed? That's weird. Hey, Pacific Turtle. The prices on watches that I really like are simply criminal. That's true. I walked away from 2 deals because the seller was all over the place on terms. Once a term was agreed on, they wanted something else. Yeah, that is, yeah. When that's going on, you're right. You should walk away from it. Um, no, I would definitely walk away from something like that. Hi, William Rizzo. Okay. It's 1530 and 1600. Okay, now, Rancher, that's a good example of having watch knowledge. I don't know jack about Rolexes, but I know enough to ask people who do know about them. And if you know that certain models haven't been uh, duplicated or they haven't made fakes of them, that's good to know. It's another way to stay out of trouble. Anyone that has brought an RM from TPG, TPG, TPG is going to be investigated. No kidding. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I think he is doing, Tim, is my understanding. He'd take a watch in to sell on consignment and then sell it and then keep all the money for himself. Now, if you're doing it with a Milne, those things are like super expensive. So yeah, you're going to be investing. The sad thing is that somebody can buy something like that in good faith and pay for whatever he asked and get the watch and is perfectly happy. The next thing you know, the FBI is knocking on your door, like oh no, stick them up. It's a G-man. Hi, local hero Ed. Buying a watch years ago, and the dealer offered me finance. I had the cash, but 0% is okay. The dealer sold my data to someone, and I caught wind before I paid and picked it up, so I just walked away. Not ethical. I agree. Yeah, somebody wants because you got to give a lot of information if you're going to buy something on time. The other thing, I use my credit card a lot on that, and man, I'll tell you, something's not if something's not right, I can always go to my credit card and tell them, hey, stop the payment on this guy's thinking. I'll tell you the thing I did have, and I don't know whether the guy was simply an idiot or was a scam. It could have been either one. It was sort of during the time of the pandemic, and so a lot of stuff during that time was sort of iffy. What I did, and this is one of the things, let me say something, positive about Chrono 24. The guy was in Poland. He had a watch I wanted, and it was like, hey, it's a nice watch. And the guy kept saying, it would really help if you wired it to me. Well, I don't care if it helped him or not. If by going through Chrono 24, they'll put it in escrow. And so I told the guy, I said, look, the money's in escrow. Send me the watch, and Bob's your uncle. And so the next thing I got was a tracking number. So I was tracking the thing, and it went. The main airport is in Warsaw, or at least the one that I guess it would be FedEx ships it out of. And I could see the thing going to the airport. That's as far as it got. That thing never left the country, whatever it was. He could have had I don't know, a rock in a box and having that thing being tracked. But I guess he figured, well, maybe the guy will see it being tracked and release the funds. He's nuts. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if the guy I'm not sure what it was, whether he was using the pandemic as a way to see if he could score some stuff. Silliman Hashim, any thoughts on Paul Thorpe's new company, supposing it will reduce watch crime and yourself being ripped off by buying still off by Bollinson? I don't know. Didn't Paul get robbed and they beat him up and everything at one time? I I have no idea. That's a good question though. I don't know how anybody can. I mean, I would say this about Paul. I would think that if we got one from Paul and he had a watch that he was selling, he would have checked it out and made sure it's not a fake. But uh, it, you know, I I don't know if he can do any more than that. Hey, just Tom, do you think watch crime fraud is here to stay now that the watch market has grown so much in recent years? I guess broader question is, do you think the mainstream interest in watches is here to stay? Boy, I don't know. Watches are sort of a funny thing. For uh, when I didn't care about watches, I really didn't care about them, and I have a feeling the great majority of the world just don't care about them. I mean, they don't. I mean, they care about them. They'll go down and get a smartwatch and have, you know, you know, perfect time for the rest of their lives and not worry about it. Uh, but I don't know. The I just that's a very hard question to answer, just Tom. Hey, Nate, Doug, how are things in South Florida? Always best to buy from someone with a brick and mortar store or an individual through a third party like C24 or eBay. You know something, Dominic? That reminds me of another thing you can do. When I first started buying stuff online, what I would do is that I would get a brick and mortar address for them and find out where they were and all of that. Now, there was one exception to that, and that was Joma's shop, because I was asking, where are you guys looking? I think it's in Brooklyn. I think they're located in Brooklyn, and they they're still one of the I've had good luck with them. In fact, I got my this is my 21. I got it through Joma shop. Oh, during the Asian crisis, they got it I with a brand new one with a $10,000 discount because they had all of these watches from Asia that were being shipped back because of the crackdown they had, and so as a result, they had some good deals. And Joma Shop was where I got it. Recording the serial number online won't stop you from getting mugged. No, no, no. I know. I mean, a lot of people they fade out the. I do it too. They fade out the serial number and some of these other things. I don't know what in the world a someone is going to do with a phony. I mean, with a real serial number. What I do on mine, I just change all the numbers around. It looks like it's a real one, so they're going to get screwed if they take it. Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? Hey, Vincent, have to watch out for vintage Rolex. I don't know if eBay authenticity program can really tell if it goes through real movement used. Everything else is easy to fake. You know something, Vincent? I had the I've had I don't know, two or three of them. I guess I got through eBay, and they did go through the authentication. The only time they goofed up was one time when I got one of these, one with 736 in it. They sent it to me and everything worked beautifully. It had a moon phase, and I set the old moon phase. Well, the moon phase didn't work. Well, I think the authentication thinks, well, everybody wants to get their watch and they want to authenticate it, and they get out their loop and look at it. Well, this looks good to me. But the moon phase takes a long time, so I don't think they do. That's one thing I don't think they authenticated as being functional on my watch, because everything else but that worked. A Hoyer Monza, picked up a little Hoyer Monza. Great watch. Hey, Nate Dogg, regarding Joma Shop, are you ever able to get the original papers? Are they not giving warranty cards? I don't know. It's a good question too. I don't care about those things mainly because I just I don't know why. I guess I should. Um the I On my really higher price ones, I try to get all of that data. Like I went in and I got on my Patek Philippe. I had them send me the archival papers. It cost at the time like 125 Swiss francs or something like that. And the thing is that when you go to sell it, you can give the buyer all the papers, and they seem to be very happy with that. Um, the thing is, if people can fake watches, believe me, it's a lot easier to fake the paperwork that goes with them. Brooklyn, yeah, they sell strictly online. Yeah, Dominic. You know that neighborhood pretty well, don't you? Yeah, like I said, I've had nothing but good luck with Joma Shop. So like I said, and I suppose I'm not the best person to ask about, guarantees and a lot of these other things. What I did on my, it was sort of interesting way to get the papers. I have this FP Journe Resonance. That thing had no papers, no nothing. It just got it here. That was it. And this is from a place on 47th Street that I was warned against going to. Not this specific place, but just going down to 42nd Street in general in New York. Or 47th Street, 47th Street. So anyway, but I went over to the boutique, the FP Journe boutique. they took pictures of it and everything, and I don't know, about 2 or 3 weeks later, they sent me this letter, and in it was this. They have this hologram that they have on it. It was like a letter, both in French and English, saying, this is a real McCoy, and was signed by F.P. Journe. Couldn't ask for more than that. And so, if it ever comes time that I would part with my F.P. Journe resonance, those are the papers. Now, on the other hand, on my Chromomet Survein, all they have is, it looks like a little credit card. I have that also on my Chanel Monsieur. That's their paper now, and I guess they have the code. Also, with this one, it came with a little thumb drive. I don't know if there's anything that's very useful or not. Hey, Brian, you researched him. The one time that research didn't serve you well, he took the time to find out about him. Yeah, they come with a Joe Michelle. Has anybody ever used that warranty? Followed up on that warranty? Um, Might be worth doing, at least knowing about. Nate Doug, eBay authentication is outstanding. I bought a rose gold millenary from a legit seller with 1,000 rating. Authenticators confirmed the rose gold case and clasps were legit, but the movement was a clone. Wow, that is good, Nate. That's really good. On the thing about Audemars Piguet watch is the movement. You got beautiful movement. So somebody put a phony baloney movement in there. I'll be darned. Hey, Pacific Turtle. I still remember the video of you back in the day unboxing your FP Journe. That was I did probably, I don't know if that was before I had my beard or not. That was a long time ago. And before I got my hat. As soon as I retire, I thought, I'll get a beret just to have something fun with it. Okay, I think really, I think conversations like this and some of the things that you guys have mentioned are really good to know, because I think one thing we can protect ourselves better than anything else. And we've got to be sure about this. That anyway. Yeah, with captions, rancher. I think, like I said, that one of the best protections, if somebody knows somebody that either, to me, like the two things: one, flat out criminal, and the other thing is has to do with the sort of what I'll call unethical, which includes different kinds of fraud. Ed, the consignment model used by this fellow is rife and not limited to watches. Sellers beware if you want it back. The thing about that local hero, Ed, is that a consignment thing, you don't have to have any money in the game. Okay, you can open up shop and said, send me your watches and I'll try to sell them for you, and if I do, I'll give you 5%. Now, which is sort of a no money startup. You don't have to have any kind of investment. And I suppose with a good website, the guy's got a great website, one of the best websites for watches I've seen. And but consignments, I don't know. Consignments are, I would like a consignment on certain things, but I don't know. I'll tell you one of the things on if you through an auction, if I went through an auction, I've done it once and had very good luck. I would rather sell than buy at an auction because on the buying from it, you get hit with a what they call a premium, a 25% gouge is what it is. So if you pay $1,000 for a watch on an auction, then you got to kick in an extra 250 from a good auction house like Christie's or Phillips or one of the really top ones on that. That's another thing. If I went and when I do and when I did with an auction house, they take one with a really, really super good reputation. They can take their sweet time paying you, but you get everything that they say you're going to get. Consignment shop should be bonded. Well, that's an interesting. Yeah, I yeah, that's a good point. Now is the time for buying, not selling. Very interesting. Interesting point. Well, guys, I think my time is just about up. I don't know if we got anywhere, but one thing I would say is that if you have some good concrete evidence, we got to be careful on these things. We can't tell somebody. We can't even call the timepiece gentleman a criminal because he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's been accused of it, indicted. So anyway, but still, we can say this happened to me. I did this, and I sent them my watch, or I sent them my money. I didn't get my watch, or one thing or the other. It was different. But we got to be careful calling names. We get in big trouble. We don't want that to happen. Anyway, um, an alleged criminal. Yeah, that you see that on the news a lot. Anyway, guys, listen. Thanks for taking some time this afternoon and this evening for those of you in where the sun has gone down. Take care.